Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Bayou Ballers podcast. This is a pop-up live show because we got some crazy news. I'm your host, Tay Visuals. My brother on the other side of the channel, man, Trey. What's going on, brother? I know what's going on, but what is going on?
Well, I mean, what's going on is we probably have one of the most mind-boggling um, trades
hmm
ever. I mean, in our lifetime, like in any sport that I could think of that I've been, since I've been alive. Like, bruh, when I seen because we Shams been hacked before.
uh,
When I saw it, I was like, oh, it's just like he just got hacked again. Like it's fine. Like people just trying to make a point because I mean, why would the Mavs trade Luka? And honestly, the way AD been playing, why would the Lakers trade him? Like, that don't make sense to me.
man.
And then and then Shams quote tweets and was like, nah, this is real. Like this is happening. I'm like, bro, but you still lying. Like, can
That
this
kind of
thing
made it seem like he still was hacked, huh?
right? Like
It was
can like
a confirmation tweet.
like can y'all find out who this hacker is? Because this ain't funny. Like this
It
ain't
ain't
funny
funny,
right now. And
man.
then ESPN confirms it on their main website. I'm like, well, it can't be that much hacking going on. And
Right.
then it's like when you finally acknowledge that it's happened, then you start to try to figure out why. So like that was just kind of my initial thing, just one, not believing it for the first 5 to 10 minutes.
hmm
And when you finally, okay, this did happen, now you're trying to figure out why. But like
Okay.
you LeBron fan over here, what how you felt about it, especially reports that LeBron didn't know about it, but like, come on, like,
Right. I'll say this. Not give a little disclaimer for y'all. I am not in my usual setup, so that's why I kind of look like this. I'm on my phone right now doing this, y'all. So if I get a little call and go out for a second, that's probably because somebody called me and I gotta decline it quickly. But about this trade, man, Luka to the Lakers, AD to the Mavs for Max Christie. But how I felt from the LeBron standpoint, I get it from the Lakers. Even though I'm a LeBron fan, because LeBron's 40. If they did it and not tell LeBron, still, I get it. It's Luca. Like you, if something come across you, like, all right, Luca for AD. I'm not gonna sit over there and wait and call LeBron, even though you probably got time, because
right,
something might leak or something. LeBron might call Rich Paul, call AD, and be like, hey, you know what's going, something like that.
yeah,
And it might happen like that. You pull a trigger with it. Luka's a better player than AD. AD is way better on the defensive end. But obviously, when a situation presents itself like that, I would have pulled the trigger as well if I was Rob Pelinka. You didn't have to give up anything. You won first. You gave up a young, good talent in Max Christie, who's came on pretty well this year, but he's a role player. Nobody's going to remember that name
mm-hmm.
in a trade like this down the line, years down the line. Just going to remember the AD. So, from being a LeBron fan, I'm not biased and saying, "Oh man, what's going on?" You wanted a move, you wanted a center, they got you Luka. So, and they still can make moves.
Yeah,
And reports came out from Chris saying that LeBron says he still wants to stay, which I don't know what people was thinking about when they were saying, oh, LeBron might want to go to the Warriors now. Why? Like Steph
yeah,
Curry is playing his worst basketball ever this season. They don't have any other. If they trade LeBron to the Warriors, you're taking away pieces from the Warriors that they really don't even have over there. You're probably
right,
gonna be trading Wiggins and somebody else. So I would like to play with a top five player, a
yeah,
25-year-old. Why am I going to play with Steph Curry when he's 35? When I can
right,
play with Luka, 25, and y'all still can make some moves to improve the roster.
mm-hmm.
You don't have to keep Austin Reeves now if you want to improve at the center position. You don't you got that first round pick you can move, Rui Hachimura. You got some things you can move around. You got Maxi
Yeah,
Kleber deal, you can flip him as well. With 11 million since he might be out for the season because he broke his foot. But that's
yeah,
how I looked at it. If they didn't tell LeBron, fine. Cool with me.
yeah.
LeBron 40. If LeBron was 33, hey, you gotta run that by LeBron.
It,
But let me ask you this. If LeBron said no, don't trade it, what would you do if you was Rob Pelinka?
well, honestly, I think Rob Pelinka was going to do it regardless.
Right. If
Because
you
of
gave LeBron a courtesy call,
yeah,
like Brian,
because
I got this
to your
trade on the
point, it's
table.
like you got to think about the future. And for a lot of people that were waiting on the Lakers' demise, it was well, LeBron's 40,
Yep.
AD
AD can't
in his
take over.
early 30s, but
And a lot of people didn't see
in and
AD
out.
as a driving force for like
Right.
a number one option. They was looking for who y'all gonna team up with AD when LeBron leaves. They were looking for that type of trade. But now you don't have to look for that
Yeah,
because you have the guy
you
and
have
you're
the
gonna
guy.
try to find people to team up with him.
Yeah, and even the talking with LeBron part, I mean, it was less about because I would have believed that the Lakers didn't consult LeBron. It was that Rich Paul knew for 2 days,
Okay.
and they said like LeBron didn't know. Like, come on, like I
Hmm.
made it. I was like, if Rich Paul did that, LeBron would take everything from him, including Adele. Like you just don't do that.
I saw that tweet.
But to your point, I mean, it's we were talking about okay, why does this happen?
Hmm.
I think the Mavs kind of gave some stupid reasons. I think Nico Harris gave some kind of ridiculous reasons as to why.
Defense wins championships.
But I would say this, not to at least try to play devil's advocate with him. In his mind, he believes, hey, we have a really good team. They're playing well. They've been playing well without Luka, who hasn't played since Christmas, if I'm not
Man,
mistaken.
they didn't got cracked today
Yeah,
by Cleveland.
yeah, they
Cleveland they
did.
put up 50 in the
Kyrie
first
ain't played.
quarter.
AD not there, so it was a bunch of backups. But like,
Kyrie said, "I can't play after this news."
yeah, but I think everybody was shell shocked, even the guys that took the court today.
Right.
But if you say, the way Kyrie's been playing, probably should have been an all-star this year. And
Agreed.
then AD was playing really well until this most recent injury, averaging 25 and 11, and
Hmm.
obviously going to be giving Wemby a run for the defensive player of the year this year.
Hmm.
If you feel like, okay, we have more of a team now and we can really vie for a championship,
Hmm.
sure. If I'm going to play devil's advocate, I don't buy it. I don't know how you get better
You
trading
believe
away your best player.
it's
Um,
something deeper. You say you don't buy that defense wins
I think
championships.
I think it simply was because they didn't want to pay Luka the money.
I I agree with that.
And
Not to
and I,
cut
and I
you off,
think it's
I
as
agree with
simple
that.
as that. And and here's the thing: I'm okay if you don't want to pay Luka,
Right.
but to set your franchise back in the way to where you don't even look to vet options, and it's not saying that you would have had to trade Luka to one of the worst teams in the league, but there are really good teams that would love to have Luka that could give you
A
probably
haul.
not probably not a all-star player, but a really good player that you can feel like, okay, he can grow with my little young core and give you a haul of picks for somebody of Luka's caliber. And you just didn't seek it at all, which is
Oh, you.
insane to me.
Oh, let me find out that Spurs bias coming in. Y'all could have given him a haul, huh? Wimby
Yeah,
and
that's
Luca.
not as somebody brought that. And here's the thing: when the GM says I was on my, I only called one team because I want Anthony Davis. Like I don't believe
Right.
like if you call the Spurs and say, "Hey, we'll give you Luka for Wemby," you should already know that the phones will get hung up anyway. Like
Yeah.
so, even if that is true, right? But what the Spurs have said, hey, you can have a Devin Vassell, a Keldon Johnson, a Stephon Castle, all these picks for Luka,
Right.
probably.
Hmm.
But I don't think Dallas would have, did that anyway because it's
Hell
a
yeah. I
division
don't think they would
rivalry.
have did that either.
But
I'll say this. With the trade from Nico Harrison's standpoint,
mhm,
I watched a little bit of his press conference today with him and J Kidd and all the facial expressions. He said J Kidd didn't know it was between just him and Rob Pelinka. They were talking for about 3 to 4 weeks, I believe.
mhm,
Um, and he said he had a relationship with Anthony Davis because he part of the Nike. They
right,
work with Nike, so he was very fond of AD, and they have a great relationship. Um, I believe the Mavs will contend. I think they'll be a viable team. Um, they've been playing with Luca for about what, without month or two
about a month
now.
and a half now.
Yeah, about a month and a half now. They went to the finals last year. And I think they wasn't the best team in the West last year, and I still think they went to the finals.
Yeah,
On the back of Luca and some great games, but if AD throughout his career, he's a great player. Sometimes he's hit or
mhm,
miss because his motor. That's the only reason he's hit or miss because his motor. Sometimes he doesn't play
mhm,
aggressive enough. Um, him and Kyrie at the same age. Kyrie's my favorite player. I'm a Brian guy and
yeah,
I'm a Kyrie guy. Kyrie my favorite player. Kyrie sometimes is hit or miss as well. He didn't have too much of a great finals last year against Boston. So and both of them have injury a bad injury
yeah.
history. So we'll see how that works out. But I do think they have a great complete team.
Yeah.
A problem with the Mavs never was interior defense. They have two great interior centers defensively.
Yeah,
Um,
and probably that's why you add a Max Christie, who's a younger
yep,
guard that can play that be that defensive player on the perimeter.
yep,
And again, even for as far as AD is concerned, he had been asking for a center. Now he gets to play next to two of them,
yes.
and I think this might be good for AD. In terms of trying to keep him a little bit healthier too, because he doesn't have to play the five as much and defend as many centers
Mhm.
throughout the year.
I think
But
so.
and for the Lakers, I think this is well. Let me finish up with the Mavs. Short term, they have to win. Like you
Right.
don't make a move like this. Say you're doing this because you're trying to maximize the championship window,
Hmm.
and you don't win a title in the next 2 or 3 years. Like you have to, or you're going to be fired. Which I pretty much think he knows this. With the Lakers, I think this was less about the short term and more about the long term.
Hmm.
Short term, like I just don't think like them getting Luka alone doesn't to me make them now contenders and threats to win the West. I think this
Hmm.
was, hey, we have an opportunity to get a young star that we can begin to build around because we
Hmm.
didn't have that. You had LeBron at 40, probably 1 year left, and you have AD at 32. How many peak years of this type of performance that he's been given this year are you going to continue to have? So
Uh,
they seize that opportunity, right? And in this LA, I mean, I always felt like players are going to want to play just because it's LA and like
mhm.
trying to win again. It almost feels like collusion because again, you just called them like
It's
the
a, it's a,
Lakers
it's
and
about who you know, man. It's about relationships,
and,
connections.
and somebody mentioned this on Twitter, bro, and it's kind of the same thing. Like remember in the summer, we trying to figure out why the hell would the Timberwolves trade Cat to New York
Tom
when they
Thibodeau.
just made it to the conference finals and were one of the top seeds in the West. And so you basically have your top two Western teams in terms of where they finished last year. They just make boneheaded trades, and you're
Well,
just
let's
trying
say
to
this:
wrap your mind around it.
where the jury's still out if it's boneheaded. If the Mavs go ahead and make the finals again, you
That's true.
you really can't say anything. But I want before I move on to the Lakers, I want to talk about this Mavs. I want to finish up on their lineup because it is essentially a B if AD is going to the four. Um, Kyrie, I would assume Max Christie will take over a starting position because
Yeah.
Clay is not Clay anymore, and I don't know if they're gonna start Spencer Dinwiddie on side of Kyrie. So
Okay.
Max in the future, but not immediately, obviously. PJ Washington, Anthony Davis, and Derek Lively. Once he becomes healthy, he's out.
Mm-hmm.
He just had a surgery, I believe. I forgot the injury, but he'll be out
Mm-hmm.
for an extended period of time. AD at the four was my problem. I always had with AD at the four, even though I think they didn't need him at the four with the Lakers. I think they needed a five just to
Mm-hmm.
have options. But I didn't want him permanently at the four
Right.
because his shooting ability is not what it was. And I talked about this a lot with you. He doesn't shoot as well as he used to in the
Mm-hmm.
2019-2020 season. Well, 2020 season when he came to the Lakers. He doesn't shoot like that anymore. From the 3-point percentage, I mean from the 3-point or the mid range. He doesn't
Right.
shoot as much. He plays primarily in a paint off offensive rebounds. He knocks his mid range down here and there, but he was cash like
Mhm.
damn
Yeah.
near automatic. He even became a more shaky free throw shooter over the years now. So I would like to see maybe without the wear and tear of playing the five, him not having to bang with some of these fives, that more jumpers come to his game, but that spacing to be pretty bad if
Right.
um him and Lively or Gaffer are on the floor at the same time if AD can't knock down some shots. So I'll see how that goes, but we'll see how the Mavs finish out the rest of the season. As for the Lakers, I got a question for you.
What's up?
They said Luka has been ramping up. This before even the trading went down that he was aiming for pre All Star break return, like a couple games
Mhm.
before the All Star break. So, how do you see this fitting with the Lakers now that they don't have a center at all, or at least a starting caliber center? No disrespect to Jackson Hayes.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know he's his role is a backup, second
Mhm.
string, third string, big man. Do you see them making a move for a center because a report came out that
They try.
they're aggressively looking for a center to play?
Yeah, I think they find it. I think they find somebody that can at
Hmm.
least fill it. Not probably not won't be a kind of a star guy by any
Right.
means. I know Miles Turner was a guy that they were really trying to go
Oh,
after,
last 3 years. The last three
and they
years.
could and that could possibly happen now, but we'll
Hmm.
see about that. Um, but it could work,
Hmm.
especially with Luca. But I think it'll be a different brand. Like everybody's been saying, well, you know, Rondo worked well with LeBron, and
Not the
LeBron playing
same.
off
It is
ball.
not the
And
same.
and what and I think I was talking to my dad about this, and I was like, well, Rondo is the type of point guard where I'm gonna have everything moving, so we're not stagnant. Luke is different. Luka is gonna be very ball dominant, a lot of ISO ball,
It's a
and I don't
difference.
know how
Luca
that.
ISO's the score. Rondo ISO. I mean, he doesn't ISO, but matter of
But
fact,
he
but he
plays to
runs it
actually
to
get the ball to
pass.
other people, right?
Yes, yes.
So that's gonna be interesting just to see. Like again, like I don't think this duo between him and LeBron are going to be something that brings another title to Los Angeles. Not their
Uh,
pairing, but I think they'll be okay. End up probably sneaking in the playoffs, depending on who they match up well. Depends on if or determines whether they win the first round or get bounced out. But I don't think they need to go overboard. And everybody's probably going to go overboard with this pairing now, but I wouldn't go overboard because I think you lose a ton without Anthony Davis. And
I
there's a
think
reason why the Lakers went and got him to begin with. And so I think you're going to be losing a lot, just not defensively, but even a guy that you can just say, hey, I need an easy bucket, and he can just make it so hard on that
I
opposing defense. So,
I, I agree with that. The overreaction. I think it should be because LeBron has played with a lot of guys, and LeBron has always been like, primarily the high usage player.
mm-hmm.
I think it's been 1 year when Kyrie was right there
Kyrie,
with
yeah.
usage with him, but not at the level of Luca. He hasn't played with a Luca type guy, which we'll see how it goes. But I think this will be pretty good, even though they traded AD for him. I always felt in these series, like against the Nuggets, they were
Mm-hmm.
always missing a guy that could just get a bucket. You know,
Yeah.
like Jamal Murray got buckets in the fourth quarter. Who somebody
Mm-hmm.
who can trade buckets like that, other than LeBron. Um, because LeBron, he's not as I'll say he's a scorer, but he's not as shifty. He doesn't take a lot of
Mm-hmm.
mid range shots, and is either LeBron's he's in that post, he's driving to the goal.
Yeah.
It's different. It's different when you're going 1-on-1, and LeBron's not. I'll see. He doesn't have a bag, as people call it. He just scores. He scores a lot of damn points this
Obviously.
week. But
You got
Luca,
something. You got the all-time scoring record.
exactly. That's why I'm not big on when people he doesn't have a bag. But I'll say just trading buckets with people left and right. LeBron hasn't had a guy like that since Kyrie, basically. Um, and I think that's very important when it's coming out because Luka has been amazing in the playoffs. Like I think he's averaging like 30 points in the playoffs his whole career. And he finally got over the hump and got to the finals just to didn't get it done.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the pairing is going to be JJ Redick's going to have a tall task on his hand because I don't know how they're going to work together. I don't, and I don't see Luka changing his game at
Mm-hmm.
least this season, at least this season, I don't see his game changing. I always had a problem with Luka game, and I wouldn't change my opinion just because he got traded to my favorite player team, and I wouldn't be like, oh, it's just gonna change. I'm not one of those guys. And people like LeBron's gonna get him in shape, get him to do this. LeBron 40 years old. He probably
Right.
got a year or two left. LeBron probably might want to play another 2 years since he got Luka now. He like might I get another ring, but
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna change Luka's regimen and stuff like that drastically. He might help him here and there, but Luca, he's gonna have to do that for himself if he wants to. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I think JJ Redick, I like to see what he does with the offense because it's gonna be a tough task. But you said one thing you mentioned was them sneaking in the playoffs. The Lakers are 8 games over 500 right now, and they're
Mm-hmm.
sixth seed.
I think it's 6 seed right now.
Yeah, fifth, sixth seed with the Clippers. They tied. They go back and forth with wins and losses. Them two. I think this takes the Lakers ceiling to another level. With
Mm-hmm.
AD, I thought their ceiling was probably like they had to play perfect um to get to where they want conference finals, maybe with the team they had. They still have to make a couple moves with a center. Now that's more pressing now. I
Mm-hmm.
thought they needed a guard who could create. Obviously, they got that guy. Um, So I think it takes their ceiling up, depending on the other moves they make. They get a big, get another guy out of there. But I also want to ask you this about the Lakers side. Do you feel they didn't want to? It came out that the Lakers didn't want to even engage with Sacramento because they already felt Austin Reeves was un. The Lakers felt him as untouchable. At least for a guy, at least for trading for Fox. Obviously, probably if the Mavs would have asked for Austin Reeves as well, I'm sure they probably would have threw him in. Even they would have had to give something back. But do you feel Austin Reeves is a trade chip now to get a better big other than trading Rui Hachimura or Gabe Vincent?
Mhm.
You dangle Austin Reeves out there to get a better player because Austin
Yeah, I
Reeves had
do.
a great year.
And you gotta understand with the King situation, it's a little bit different. I think
Mhm.
one, the Lakers have a tax where people
Yes.
usually ask them to pay a higher price, which is why I will always say this particular trade is definitely collusion because it's probably the only GM in the world that's not going to make the Lakers pay a King's ransom.
Hmm.
But also understand that De'Aaron Fox and his agents and Rich Paul have said where he wants to go.
Right.
So if I know this guy doesn't want to resign with me, he's going to go to San Antonio, whether it's in February or July. I'm not giving up Austin Reeves for that.
Well,
But
I'll say this. I'll say this. They never said where he wanted to go. It's always been no. He
yeah,
never confirmed yet. He always
he's
the
always
main thing is
reported.
San
But
Antonio, but Rich Paul hasn't confirmed yet. Darren Fox
mhm,
said he didn't even ask for a
he
trade
didn't.
when they
They
asked
came to
him in the
him.
post game interview. He said, "I never said anything." So,
Yeah, they
but
came to him.
obviously, I don't think Shams is lying. Obviously, the trade thing is out there, but just to keep stay on our P's and Q's, he didn't officially ask for a trade. He said,
Hmm.
and he didn't. They didn't confirm a team. But
Yeah, but
appreciate y'all for watching as well. I know that's a pop up live. We wanted to go to live last night. My boy had to get to sleep because he had to get up early. He wasn't playing
mhm,
with y'all.
nah,
But
not at
continue,
all.
brother. You could go.
But yeah, so I can see why the Lakers would have denied that with the Kings. But now that you got Austin, I mean, you got Luka Doncic, you really don't need Austin Reeves to be quite honest with you.
Hmm.
And now you know what your deficits are as a team, and you
Hmm.
got to think about how do I fill that. And to fill that, you're going to have to use a guy like an Austin Reeves because a Gabe Vincent isn't going to do it for you. A Rui Hachimura isn't going to really do it for you. Then even if you trade Rui, you still lose some level of size
Hmm.
and at least a guy with a bigger body that can kind of push the defense. He's not like a stopper,
Right.
by any means,
But
but
he's
a guy
fine.
that can his size can bother you. So I think based on the roster that they have, Austin
Mhm.
Reeves has to be a guy that's on the block if you're saying
Right
I
there.
want a really good center. So
For the right deal. I agree. I
yeah.
think he should be at least dangled out there because this is like a career year for him. His ball
Mhm.
usage has went up. He's basically been a point guard since D'Angelo Russell been traded. And Luka and Austin Reeves in the backcourt with LeBron at the stage, that defense is
That's
pretty.
barbecue chicken.
That defense, and LeBron can play defense, but you can't ask him to be a primary defender, and he will have to be that with them guys on the court. His
Mhm.
attention to detail will have to. He can't take off too many plays. Reeves gives efforts. He gives effort, but he's just not a good defender. Like you see it
He's
night in and
trying.
night out. He tries. He's just attacked each and every night. And Luca, I can't say he gives effort every play. Yeah, we saw it in the finals. He just let guys blow past him. And I know a lot of that was because he was banged up, but still,
Mhm.
when you fighting for a finals, you got to give maximum effort. So they definitely have to get, and they traded away their best defensive guard, and Max Christie. So that's a they backcourt needs some defensive guys. I know Jared Vanderbilt coming back helps. Dorian Finney-Smith is a great wing defender, but they
Mhm.
need a point of attack defender at the guard position, and it ain't gonna be Bronny James. So they got they gotta look to find somebody out there. So I think Rui, Austin Reeves, Gabe Vincent, and that first round pick will a part of any of that will be traded to get a
Mhm.
big man and probably another defender at the guard position, unless
Yeah.
Gabe Vincent is going to turn back into Miami Gabe, which
Mhm.
doesn't look likely right now. I'll say this: when you saw the trade, what was your reaction at the time? Where were you? Because we all gonna remember where we was at.
Mhm.
You said this can't be real, but where were you?
Yeah,
What
like
were
I
you
was just
doing?
chilling. I was chilling at the house, man. I was getting ready to go to bed because I had to be up. Pick wifey up from the airport,
Hmm.
and I was like, bro, like I'm about to go to sleep. Like this ain't real. I ain't about to worry about it. And you just kind of doing your little scrolling. You keep seeing it multiple times, and it's
Hmm.
like, bro, like can y'all stop overreacting? Like this is not a thing. The Mavericks can never
Man.
do such a thing. Like the
Okay.
Lakers right now would not even do that. At least I don't think so.
Hmm.
Um, and then, like I said, ESPN announced it, and it's like, oh, shit, it's real. Like, so then you start to figure out why. And that's why I said, like, it makes a lot more sense
Hmm.
from the Lakers standpoint. Like, I feel like it's because I haven't heard from Rob Pelinka yet, but I
Hmm.
think when he talks and he talks about hey, how this is a move for our future and thinking of how can we continue to be that standard of trying to compete for championships and what a player like Luka at his age can do for us. Okay, Nico Harris did a horrible job. He answered like 3 or 4 questions. They were all horrible answers.
Hmm.
Um, you didn't let Luka know. You didn't talk to any other team. You didn't let your head coach know. Um,
He
I
said
think
when he talked to the owner, he said the owner laughed at him.
right, and to me, it says a lot about the owner too, because like this was probably the first clear example that Mark Cuban is no longer the majority
Oh, I
owner
was just about to say
of
that.
the Mavericks.
A disclaimer:
Because
Mark
had
Cuban
he had
did sell a majority of his
yeah
shares for the Mavericks. For people who don't know, Mark
yeah,
Cuban is not the majority owner anymore, but I
yeah.
think he's still
He's a
in the
minority
running
owner.
up. Yeah, he's a minority owner. I think he's still in some of the operations. I don't know, but
Mm-mm.
obviously
They,
probably not if they traded Luca.
but I was telling somebody, I said, had Nico called Mark and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about trading Luca," Mark would have said, "No, I think you're thinking about where you're going to be working next because that's not happening." Like, dude, for verbatim said, they asked him. He said, "If I had to choose between my wife and trading Luka Doncic, you would catch me at the lawyer's office filing for divorce." Like that wasn't going to happen under his watch, which is
Mhm.
insane. Which, by the way, all the fellas watching never say that, especially if you got a significant other.
Facts.
Don't be ridiculous.
Thanks,
Um,
y'all. Appreciate y'all for watching as well. Appreciate the 14 people in here live. Once again, pop up show out the blue, man. We didn't get our regularly scheduled show in this week due to scheduling, but we appreciate y'all watching live. Once again, I'm not in my regular setup. This is a life changing trade for the NBA. Let me ask you this: do you think more stars will be on the block? Because we saw all NBA players reacting. Um, the I really
yeah,
think the Mavs traded Luca because they did not want to pay the 345.
yeah,
We agree. Me and you are in agreement there. All these other stories about conditioning, all
yeah.
that. I think that's just BS to try to justify the trade
Mhm.
for them. Talking about he got up to 270
I
pounds. We
don't
don't care
care.
what he got up to.
That's
Luca,
38 and 8.
yes, we don't care about what he got up to. When he on the floor, he give you what he give you 50 wins basically.
Mhm.
Ever since he been ever since a rookie year, you saw the MVP in him. But I want to ask you this,
Mhm.
like I said, or do we see other star players of this caliber getting traded? Because when people trade deadline come up, we back. Oh, we
Yeah.
untouchable. These guys are untouchable. Obviously, it's only I think a couple guys untouchable.
Mhm.
I would think LeBron is. He has a no trade clause.
Right.
Obviously Bradley Bill, he has a no trade clause. He not untouchable because of his production.
Yeah.
But I think Steph Curry is untouchable unless he asks for a trade. Probably Giannis and Jokic. Oh, and Wemby, and your guy Wemby.
Yeah.
Um,
Honestly, I think
who do you think?
Giannis.
You think
I
the
think
Bucks will
Giannis
trade him
might be one
willingly?
of those. Giannis might be the candidate for the next one
I
in
think he
terms
will be. I think he will be.
because I don't personally, I don't think he'll ever ask Milwaukee for a trade, but
You don't think so?
I don't think he'll ever ask, but
You don't think he
I
has
can
the
very well
guts
see
to?
Milwaukee. Yeah, I can
I
very
don't
well
think
see
he wants to be
Milwaukee.
painted as a bad guy. So I agree with you.
Yeah, and he kind of, he set them seeds and like he almost,
He
put
do.
in, like because he was like,
Yep.
I know like if we don't win a championship, that's a possibility. Like, nah, I see
Bro,
what you're doing. Like
it's a possibility they trade me.
you
No,
want to
it's
be traded,
yeah,
but you don't want to request it, right?
it's no possible reason Milwaukee, a small market team, will trade you willingly.
Yes.
No way. It's the only way they gonna trade you
Hmm.
if you ask. And that's the thing what happened with Portland.
Yeah.
Lillard did not want ask, and they did not
Hmm.
trade him. When he
Right.
asked, they traded him. You didn't bully them into
Yeah.
taking that Tyler Hero package from Miami.
Yeah.
But
But I think to your point, like we said, I think Giannis may be the next one that we're surprised by in terms of we just didn't
Mhm.
expect it. Obviously Trey Young's been on that block for a
Yep.
while.
What about
I can see
Embiid?
that. I can see Anthony Edwards at some point,
Ooh,
especially given you traded his running mate, because we forget a lot of the sacrifices that Cat made to let Anthony Edwards be that guy.
right.
So I could see, him asking out. I could see it probably happening with LaMelo Ball because as phenomenal of a player as he is,
It's just
Charlotte
not
still
winning.
isn't winning games. And so I can see them saying, well, do we want to pay him that money if we're not getting anything out of it? We're not even getting
New,
the play in. So
also new own. Last two teams you mentioned, new
new
owners.
ownership. Yeah.
Charlotte, new owner. Minnesota, new owner. Ship. With
Mhm.
Alex Rodriguez and who's
Yep.
that? Mark.
I
What's
can't
his name?
remember his name.
Mark Laurie. I think it's Mark Laurie, but I don't know if they settled the ownership yet. The ownership yet with them.
Uh, they ended
They're
up
still
figuring out
in litigation or something, I
yeah,
believe. But
they figured it
they,
out.
yeah, it's looking like they'll have the team. But so
Yeah.
paying Supermax, I think Anthony Edwards will be All NBA and he'll be eligible for a Supermax when that time comes. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if LaMelo Ball will be because he doesn't play enough games to win those All NBA awards. He gets hurt pretty much. So
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte might not have to pay him a Supermax.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't know. Charlotte, they have some good pieces, good young pieces. I'll say Mark Williams is a nice piece. Lamelo,
Yeah.
um, Miles Bridges, a couple of guys, but I don't know if they want to let Lamelo go because they'll be basically starting over again.
Yeah.
Um, but man, you said what do you think about Embiid trade?
I think that's something that's a possibility.
Hmm.
Um, I think that, I mean, especially as Tyrese Maxey has begun to emerge more and
Yeah.
more, I think that starts to become a large possibility that they want to move on while there's still some value for Joel Embiid. Because I think the longer you wait, it's going to be harder and harder to move off of him.
Yes. Yes. I agree. But let's finish touching on this trade. I know there's a lot of nuggets that came out after the trade was done with the reporting and things like that. Um, with LeBron wanting to stay, it's been reported that he wants to stay. What do you if put yourself in LeBron's shoes? What are you thinking from a LeBron James standpoint? You're 40 years old. You might play 1 or 2 more years.
Mhm.
You play 2 more years, you might see your other son
Yeah.
in the league if he makes it. But
Yeah.
what's your thoughts of a LeBron James for the rest of this year? What are you thinking? You getting Luka back off of injury? Hopefully he's still healthy. Hopefully we don't hear no damn phony
Yeah.
news that he's out for the rest of the year or something like
Right.
that. That's why the Mavs traded him.
Yeah.
But what are you thinking from a LeBron James standpoint?
I think LeBron is thinking the way what he's always thought is maximize what he has,
Hmm.
maximize the window he has. And so if you're lucky enough to compete for a championship, then great. But if it doesn't work out in your favor, not
Hmm.
everybody gets to only one team gets to win a championship every year. So I
Right.
think right now it's just about maximizing what he can do, maximizing what his body's allowing him to do, and getting through this year. And I think it wouldn't surprise me if after this season we hear you start to have some murmurs that he might retire, and I think he makes an announcement saying, "Hey, this upcoming season is going to be my last season," and that helps one get that out of the way for him,
Hmm.
and then it allows the Lakers to really start to game plan
I
for
agree.
what is life going to be like with Luka as our face and no LeBron James, and start to um, build, their books and everything and their plans about what that next summer is going to look like.
I agree. I agree with that. I like that analysis of Yeah, but I agree with that analysis of the LeBron James take. Um, uh, one thing I'll say about that though is the Lakers, will they get some assets? They didn't get as many assets like in draft picks. If
Mm-hmm.
they trade their 2031 the draft pick to get a center, or something like any other piece that they need to add, they'll be
Mm-hmm.
strapped for draft capital when LeBron retires.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know any other guys they'll be able to flip to improve the roster after that, because they'll just be like Luka and a bunch of other spare pieces in Reeves if they keep Reeves. Reeves would be
Mm-hmm.
great to keep when LeBron is leaving, but we'll see how that pairing is
Mm-hmm.
going forward. What's your thoughts on Luca process? Luca has switched his profile picture to him and Kobe Bryant. I don't know if you've seen that. When
Yeah.
Luca
I would
was
just say I would the advice I'd give Luca is don't be DeMar DeRozan.
okay.
It's tough to get traded by a team or from a team that you thought you were going to spend your whole career with,
Hmm.
but you gotta let that go. That's the business, and you have a new home, and you have an organization that's going to try to be behind you as best as they can, and you have to, uh, give your all in that situation. You're going to get asked a ton of questions about Dallas and what went on and how you feel.
Yep.
And sure, right now, you can answer those questions, but truly, by the time you get to the end of the year, you're a Laker, and you need to focus on bringing another championship and hanging up another banner in title time, and that just has to be your focus. Because I think a lot of times, like I said, DeMar DeRozan, I think even Isaiah Thomas, they got so focused on being done wrong that they
Right.
didn't take advantage of the new destination.
Hmm.
So he has to be willing to do that.
And you talking about Isaiah Thomas of the Celtics, right? Correct.
Celtics, yeah.
All right. I'll say this. As the trade deadline heats up, we have about a few more days. When is it? The 6th.
4 days, 36, yeah.
All right. A few more days. We still have Darren Fox on the block. Jimmy Butler is hanging out there. A couple other guys: Miles Turner, Walker Kessler, Zach LaVine. I don't know. Maybe Trey Young. Oh, Brandon Ingram. Um, I think we're gonna have a a fulfilled trade deadline this with Luca coming off the board. I don't think no team should be running around trying to ask for overpay now.
Mm-hmm.
What a 25-year-old stud just went for. He went for another stud, but the other stud is 8 years older. So we'll see how this trade deadline gets. I want to get a couple predictions from you
Mm-hmm.
on this trade deadline.
Mm-hmm.
Is Darian Fox still with the Kings um after the trade deadline?
No, I think he's the San Antonio Spurs.
Okay. Jimmy Butler. Teams floating around for him. The Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Suns. Is he still with Miami after this? Mind you, he is suspended indefinitely right
Yeah.
now.
No, I think he ends up being a Warrior. I
Okay.
know the Suns really want him, but they just don't have what they want.
Right.
Um, Bradley Beal wouldn't mind Miami, but Miami doesn't want
Him.
Bradley Beal.
Right.
And so I think he ends up going to Golden State, and Miami ends up getting like an Andrew Wiggins or somebody like that.
Okay. Does oh yeah, sorry about that, y'all. Does Zach LaVine stay with the Bulls?
No, I mean, this is probably the best chance they've ever had in a long time. He's healthy, still
He's
playing
been
well.
playing great too. Yep.
You gotta offload him. I don't know what teams have expressed interest. I know the Warriors were a team
I know the
at one
Nuggets
point in
were
time.
one. The
Nuggets were
Nuggets were
one.
floating around. Um, and that's all that I heard. I know they had a no, that's off the table now. But um, so you think all three of those guys are gone? What
Yeah.
about Brandon Ingram? He doesn't have a deal. A report came out saying he's looking for an extension around the 35 million mark. So that's under what me and you thought he was
Hmm.
asking for. We thought him wanting to be paid like superstar money, which is
Right.
the 50 million. So I think he's kind of self-aware if this report is true.
Right.
35 million, I feel that is a good number for Brandon Ingram.
Hmm.
That's not bad. That's like in the NBA in the current NBA cap situation, that's third, second, third option money.
Hmm.
So do you think he's moved finally from New Orleans?
I think he's moved, especially with how Trey Murphy's been balling. Like
Yes, he
he,
just
he
dropped
got
that
to
horse
move him
piece.
now.
on the Celtics. And teams for him has been mainly the Hawks. The Hawks, and I heard the Nuggets as well with him.
I can see
Um,
that. I think the Hawks might end up doing something. They've
mhm.
been good trade partners. So I can
They
see the
lost
Hawks.
Jalen Johnson.
Yeah.
The DeJounte Murray just went down with an Achilles injury as well.
Hmm.
Rumored to be an Achilles injury, so that's tough on him because he also just came back from an ACL this season at the beginning of the season. So um, that's a tough blow for the Pelicans. And mind you, they were super injured at the beginning of the season. That's why they at the bottom of the West now. Who's the other couple? Oh yeah, and they have a couple centers on the market. Nikola Vucevic, Walker Kessler might be on the market. Never know what Danny Ainge. They say he's
Hmm.
asking for 2 first-round picks for Walker Kessler. That's crazy. Miles Turner, Jonas Valanciunas, a couple other guys, but I'm
Yeah.
just naming the centers right now. Do you see any of these centers moves? I definitely think
Um,
Valanciunas might be moved. The Wizards are.
yeah, I think Valanciunas is going to move. I can see JV ending up in San Antonio,
Hmm.
kind of being that five for Wemby. But I think he's kind of in that same space that Anthony Davis is in.
Okay.
Like really great having him at the five, but you almost don't want to overuse that. Have him close there, but they shouldn't be
Right.
playing quarters 1 through 4 at the five position. So having somebody like JV can help.
Hmm.
Um, I think Vooch probably ends up in Golden State. Like they might end up him and
Yeah.
Zach
Yep. They're looking
putting
for
that
him.
together. It could be something.
Hmm.
Um, I think Miles Turner, if Indianapolis does trade him, I think that ends up being where they end up sending him to LA to the Lakers. I think that finally happens after a whole bunch of
Finally, man. I tweeted a couple days ago. Miles Turner has literally been on a trade block for 6 years. Like that got to be exhausted for him every year. This year looked like it would be clean, like he would escape the trade rumors. But lo and behold, you 1 week approaching the deadline, he back. Miles Turner. They might not be able to reach it. They trying to save money in Indianapolis, but they might be trading Benedict Mathurin to help to keep Miles Turner because they have no center, backup center after Turner. So if you trade Miles Turner, you're gonna
Mhm.
have to get a center back. So we'll see how that goes. But it's been a crazy um 16 hours, I should say, since this happened. Happened like 11 o'clock, man. We ain't get no news like this at overnight since Kevin Durant was traded to the Suns at 2 a.m. in the morning. So what do you I should say the last thing, your closing thoughts on this Lakers Mavs trade for this year. Where do you see these two teams ending up this year? Do you see
Um,
both in the playoffs?
I think they both end up in the playoffs,
That'd be crazy. We get a matchup of them two, man.
which is
That'll be,
possible. So
man. Hopefully, they play
it never.
February 26th. They play the 26th and they play April. I'm expecting both teams to be back. They need to put that on prime time television.
Mm-hmm. They playing in Dallas. I'm probably gonna go to that one.
Oh, you lucky. You're lucky, man. But man, I appreciate y'all for coming in. We appreciate y'all. We got 16 people in here now. I appreciate y'all for coming watching us on a Sunday, man. At 7 o'clock. Not too much going on. Next week is Super Bowl Sunday, man. We have to touch on that trade.
We
Gotta get
will.
those in this week because my homeboy might be going for a three-peat, man, in his fourth ring. Jalen Hurts trying to get a ring to Philly. This is their second time in 3 years. We're gonna get our picks and tell y'all what we think of the game and who's gonna win and how they're gonna win. Is Andy Reid gonna retire? Travis Kelce gonna retire? I don't know. That'll be the perfect ending, man, if they win and retire like that and leave my
Mm-hmm.
homeboy by himself. But any closing thoughts, brother, for the fans?
Man, look, just appreciate y'all coming on a Sunday night. Just us, just kind of needing to get this out there. This ain't the end. I feel like there's gonna be some more trades. So by the time we come back on Wednesday, there's gonna be some more things to talk about. So
I agree.
buckle up.
Please do, y'all. I know y'all enjoyed it. It was a crazy night last night, man. I just kept refreshing YouTube and Twitter. But thank y'all for watching, man. Y'all have a good night. Enjoy y'all rest of y'all Sunday. See y'all Wednesday.